Hello everyone, on today's episode we're talking about the psychological principle of impulse control, how it's the gateway for self-love and how you can increase your impulse control in 7 helpful ways. Hello everyone. Self-control, impulse control is something that's been studied by psychologists all around the world. It's a buzzword. It comes from an old Harvard study, which was, I think it was a cookie study, where they'd leave some cookies in front of a individual when they were a child, I think 3 years old. The psychologist would leave the room and say, if you wait for me to come back, you get 2 cookies, but if you eat this one, when I come back, you don't get any more cookies. And what would happen is some children would go, well, it's been 2 minutes, I'm eating this cookie. But then there's some children who'd wait and get 2 cookies. When they studied those children, they found the children that waited for the extra cookie, who had more impulse control, went on to live far more successful lives. Understanding that you've got everything you need is a really key important part to enjoying life. So as always, I've got a quote on this subject, and that quote is, "Self-control separates us from our ancient ancestors and the rest of the animal kingdom. Thanks to our large prefrontal cortices, rather than responding to immediate impulses, we can plan, we can evaluate alternative actions, and we can refrain from doing things we regret. We can also take advantage of these human abilities by developing wisdom and willpower." Bradley Hughes. Impulse control is very important, and when they do, and this is why I'm so compassionate, especially to criminals and even individuals who've done terrible things, when they're studied in brain science centres, the average criminal for violent crimes is put in a brain scanner and they are asked to respond to an image. So it might be an image of a fear or flight situation, so it might be a picture of a baby so they don't react, and then it might be a picture of a person with a fist and they react. The time it takes from them to react from a chemical release, which is fear or flight, and the time it takes that prefrontal cortex to activate to come up with a solution is directly proportional to whether they'll go to jail or not. So sometimes our brains are hardwired to react. We all know this, that someone, you always have a friend who someone says, "Oh, you're an idiot," and that they're immediately, there's a fist fight going on, whereas you might be in a situation where someone calls you an idiot, you feel like punching this person, but you don't do it because you think it through, go, if I punch this person, it's going to create more and more problems. So it's just that little gap in the brain chemistry. So we should have compassion for people who get things wrong when we try to rehabilitate them. I know my personal story was food, texting, email. So when it came to food, I thought the hunger was real, and I didn't let it settle for a few minutes. I didn't realize it was a thought. So I'd immediately go get the worst food possible. Emailing, I'd reply to emails immediately and then read it, go, why did I write that? That was such a ridiculous response to that email. And ultimately with attraction, I'd be attracted to someone and I wouldn't give them the space to respond. I'd be all over them before they could allow their feelings to develop. And that's all impulse control. So Brad, how do we get better at this? How do we develop this on our 1-year journey? Well, the first way, faith. It's all going to work out. Look back on your life, think about some of the worst situations and realise how it's made you the person you are today. Then you can look forward and realise any situations coming up now will be directly proportional to that. Number 2, the way people react is a direct reflection of how they feel in the moment. Every time. No one will say or do anything to you that isn't a direct reflection of how they feel. We think we have conversations with people, we don't. When someone tells you what to do, they're telling you what they would do. I like people who go, well, what I would do is this. I hear so many people go, you should do this. That's not true. What they're saying is they would do this. They don't know your situations, they don't know how you feel, and you don't need to react to people being nutcases because they're reacting to how they feel. You should have compassion. If someone is angry enough to, throw that Coke can at Walmart, in the middle of Walmart, there's something's happened to them that make them do that. People who are happy don't do that. They don't knock things over. So have compassion. Understand these people have had things happen to them that made them do these things. 3, small impulse versus big payoff. Sometimes just the little thing about eat the chocolate or eat the cake, yes, that's just a small impulse. But if you can learn to control at least the big results, I bet you, because here's the thing, right? Go up to a dude with a 6-pack or a woman whose body you admire. I think they still like chocolate. I think they still like pizza. I think they still like soda. They just choose to ignore those impulses for the bigger picture, which is their health. Environment. Understand that your environment that you put yourself on is huge for self-impulse control. Obviously, having a pantry full of chocolates is not going to help you with the impulse control regarding chocolate. My favourite study is the one of the exercising, where they took two groups of people, had one group put their sports shoes directly by their bed, another group were able to keep their sports shoes anywhere else. The group that kept their sports shoes under the bed were 50% more likely to exercise. Why? Because their environment was allowing their impulse control to work. That's why I always talk about decluttering, getting rid of things that you don't need, because there's never an impulse to use them when they're not there. Or vice versa, bringing good things into your life like running shoes or books that you should read, keep them handy. Another way is presence. When you're aware of the thoughts and the emotions, you don't just act, you become the awareness behind them. That's what we are. We are the universal awareness. We've been here forever and we're going to be here forever because we're unkillable. We're the awareness. Like people worry about death. Well, if we're aware of death, death cannot kill the awareness, because death could not exist without awareness. Therefore, to kill the awareness means that death kills itself. So, have presence in a simpler way. Reflection. Reflect back on the times where if you just would have chilled out for a few more seconds or minutes or days, not answered that email or text in a few days, how things would eventuate differently. I've sent people texts and realised, I've deliberately not responded to people for a couple of days because they might be a bit angry. Only get a text a few days later going, I'm completely sorry, just ignore all that stuff I sent. So I gave them opportunity on reflection to think about their actions, and the same is true with me. When I go to do something silly, I can reflect back on how that would have worked badly in the past. And finally, know your outcome. I used to work in retail, and people used to come in and they used to complain and say, this computer's broken, it's no good, I'm really, really angry, and you're an idiot and you should never sell these things and you're stupid. And I would say, okay, well, we have two issues here. You can choose to belittle and complain, which might make you feel good, or we can look at the laptop, fix it and get a result. What do you want? Do you want to complain or do you want a result? And quite often they would be confused, but say they want the result. So I'd ask, well, if you want the result, work with me to get the result, because if we keep going this way, we won't get it. And that's the truth. What is your outcome? If you love someone, you want them to change, and you're nagging them and being, angry and bitter towards them, know your outcome. That's not going to change them. If you love them, be loving and be kind. Know what you really want. If you want a relationship, a long-term relationship, and someone says to you, I just like to have fun, don't ignore that. And don't spend any more time with them, because ultimately, you need to know your outcome so you can allow the space for the universe to manifest what you deserve. Something to think about. Impulse control. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.